It started as detention, ended as something else. I was the last student in Riverside High that night. Friday, 7:43 p.m. Everyone else was gone, except Mr. Graham, the history teacher. He said I had to stay and clean the desks because I didn't respect the past, whatever that meant. By 8:10 he was gone too. I heard the doors lock behind him. The school looks different after dark. The walls seem taller, the light dimmer. The clocks still tick, but slower. And the sound of your own footsteps follows half a second late, like someone else is walking behind you. I wiped the last desk and dropped the rag. Then I heard it. A bell, just one ring. Short, sharp. The sound came from the East Wing, the one that's been closed for years. Everyone knows the story. 10 years ago, a student hung himself in that hallway. They say he was left behind after detention too. His name was Evan Blake. We even have the stupid urban legend. If you hear the last bell, don't answer it. But I did. The door to the East Wing was chained, but one lock was broken. When I pushed it open, the air hit me. Stale, cold, smelling of dust and copper. My flashlight flickered. Every locker had been left open. Textbooks on the floor. Graffiti covered the walls. Things like, "He never left," and 9:13 is the last bell. I checked my phone. 8:57. Somewhere deeper in the hall, a locker slammed shut. I told myself it was air pressure. Old buildings breathe, right? Then a light turned on by itself. One of those long fluorescent strips. Buzzing, flickering. Under it stood a single desk, perfectly clean. A name carved on top, Evan, next to it. A rope, frayed, hanging from a ceiling pipe. The bell rang again. 3 times, slow, heavy. I dropped my phone. When I picked it up, the screen said 9:13, footsteps, not mine. Bare feet, slapping softly against the tile. "Who's there?" I called out. No answer. Just breathing. Close. Then I saw him. A shape at the end of the hallway. Pale, tall, head tilted, watching me. Not a ghost, exactly. More like the air itself had taken a shape. He stepped forward. The light above him went out. Another step. Another light. Gone. Like darkness followed him. I ran back toward the main building. The door was gone. Just a wall of lockers where it should be. The graffiti had changed. "You're late." The bell rang again. But this time, not from the hall. From inside the lockers. Hundreds of tiny bells ringing at once. A sound like metal screaming. My flashlight died. I dropped it. The lights overhead blinked once, and now the lockers were all closed. Every single one, except one. Number 113. It was half open, and something inside was breathing. I reached out, shaking. The door creaked. Inside, a mirror. Old, cracked, and in it, my reflection. But behind me, someone else, Evan, smiling, no eyes. Just 2 black holes dripping shadow. He whispered right next to my ear, "It's your turn to stay after." The bell rang again, louder this time. When I opened my eyes, it was morning. Sunlight poured through the gym windows. Teachers walked by like nothing happened. My phone said Saturday, 6:30 a.m. I tried to tell them I got locked in. They looked confused. The East Wing? They said it was demolished last year. I went to look. They were right. There was only rubble, fenced off, grass growing through concrete. But sitting in the middle of it was a single locker. Number 113, door slightly open, inside. My phone, still recording. Timer frozen at 9:13 p.m. That night, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number, voicemail. I pressed play. Static, then a bell, and a voice. "Detention's not over yet." I'm not afraid of schools. I live in them. Well, I work in one. Have for 6 years. My name is Anna Morris, and I teach literature at Hillcrest High School. Quiet suburb, gray walls, identical lockers, the smell of coffee and paper. Kids laughing. Teachers tired, but smiling. Just another ordinary school year. Until that evening, when I was alone. It started when the principal asked me to check the old storage room in the basement. Outdated textbooks, old files, boxes of archives, all needed sorting. I agreed. Not because I wanted to, but because I never know how to say no. After classes, the school emptied quickly. The corridors darkened. Sunlight bled through the windows, painting the walls red. I went downstairs, past the gym, where it always smelled of damp rags and dust. The storage door was locked with a rusty padlock, but the key was already in the keyhole. Inside, darkness and dust. A single bulb flickered, pulsing like breath. I turned on my phone's flashlight and started opening boxes. Nothing unusual. Attendance logs, essays, graduation lists. Then I found one box labeled in marker. Class of 1999, do not open. I laughed. Classic school melodrama. Of course I opened it. Inside, photographs. Black and white, yellowed around the edges. Class portraits, teachers, group shots. I flipped through them and froze. One of the photos was me, standing at the blackboard. Same hair, same face. But the caption read, Miss Morris, 1999. I dropped the photo. It landed face down in the dust. When I picked it up again, new words had appeared beneath the image, faint but clear. She came back. The light blinked and went out. I groped for the door, but outside wasn't the hallway anymore. It was a stairwell leading up. A stairwell that didn't exist before. I climbed. Narrow concrete walls. Smelled of smoke. At the top, a classroom door. I opened it. Desks stood neatly in rows, as if a lesson was about to begin. On the board, written in chalk, lesson topic, the final bell. And at the teacher's desk sat a woman. Straight posture, hair tied back. She slowly turned her head, and I saw my own face. Only her eyes were empty. "You're late, Anna," she said, with my voice. "The students are waiting." I looked at the desks. Shapes sat there. Silhouettes without faces, without sound. Some held books. Others simply stared. The air rippled like heat. I stepped back. She stood. "You promised to come back to them," she whispered. "Remember? I don't." "You stayed after class. Back then, 1999. None of them left. The room flashed white. For a second, I saw fire, a collapsing ceiling, smoke, screams, the bell ringing through the flames. A fire in the basement, the school archive. Then silence. I stood in the same room again, but everything was ruined. Dust everywhere, windows shattered, the blackboard scorched. In the corner, the same photo. Burned around the edges, all the students were gone. Only I remained. I ran into the corridor, but it wasn't the same one. The halls twisted into circles. Doors led back to where I'd started. On the walls, faint burned handprints. The bell kept ringing, endlessly, painfully loud. I screamed and heard the echo, but it didn't repeat my words. It whispered, "The bell is for the teacher." I reached the exit. The door was open. Outside, night sky, empty parking lot, moonlight. I stepped forward and found myself back in the classroom. At the blackboard on the desk lay the grade book. My handwriting inside. Attendance, absent. Teacher did not appear. On the last page, someone had written in red ink, "The lesson isn't over." In the morning, students found me sitting at the teacher's desk, chalk in hand. They said I kept repeating softly, "Open your notebooks," the final bell. But I don't remember that. Now I still go to work. Every day looks the same. Same walls, same classroom, same smell. Only sometimes when the last evening bell rings, I see them. The old class, the ones who never left in 1999. They sit quietly, waiting for me to begin the lesson, and I do. Because if I ever stop, the bell will never stop ringing, never. My name is Dennis Walker, and I work as the night guard at St. Andrew's High School. Doesn't sound scary, right? 3 floors, long corridors, buzzing lights, dusty lockers, that faint smell of chalk and disinfectant. During the day, noise, laughter, ringing bells. At night, just me, the hum of old lights, and the sound of my own footsteps echoing through the empty halls. I thought I was used to it, until the last shift. It happened at the end of October. The school was getting ready for Halloween. Paper bats, fake cobwebs, orange cutouts on every wall. Kids wrote "Boo!" everywhere, harmless. I clocked in at 11:01 p.m. Normally, I did a patrol every half hour. The security system was ancient. Fuzzy monitors, weak sound. The screen showed nothing but quiet, empty corridors. Sometimes I'd see the janitor, Mrs. Rivera, pushing her mop down the hall. That night, she wasn't there. Said she was sick. So I was alone. At first, everything was quiet. I checked the doors. Locked. Gym, empty. Cafeteria. Just the fridge humming. Back in the security office, I glanced at the clock. 12:37 a.m. Then I noticed one of the monitors flickering. Camera 3, the north wing near the biology lab. Nobody was supposed to be there. The image glitched, like someone was standing too close to the lens. I turned on the audio. I heard breathing. Steady. Calm. Probably some kid sneaking in for a prank, I thought. So I grabbed my flashlight and went to check. The corridor was empty. All the doors were locked. But on the floor, small footprints in the dust. Children's size. They hadn't been there earlier. the biology lab door was cracked open. Light flickering inside. On the desk, a microscope, glass jars, a plastic skeleton model. But in the corner stood something else. A mannequin, the kind used in anatomy class. Only I knew for sure. It was supposed to be locked in the storage closet. Now it stood in the middle of the classroom, facing the window. Dressed in a school uniform. Gray jacket, white shirt, striped tie. On the chest, a name tag. Evan Blake. The name hit me. I'd heard it before. A few years back, something happened in this school. A student, 16, quiet, polite. Evan Blake. He stayed late one night. Never came home. Some said he ran away. Others whispered he hanged himself in the basement. Officially, missing person. I took a step closer. The mannequin swayed slightly as if breathing. I raised the flashlight and froze. Under the plastic eyelids, something moved. Eyes. Real eyes. I dropped the flashlight. When I picked it up again, the mannequin was standing by the door, facing me, its mouth open slightly. From inside came a faint hiss, like static. I slammed the door shut, locked it, and ran back to the security office. Every monitor now showed the same image. The biology lab. Empty. Except in the corner of the screen, almost invisible, stood a boy in uniform, and a caption appeared under him. Come below. No one used the basement anymore. It was part of the old building, a storage area for desks, books, broken chairs. The entrance was behind the gym. I should have called the police. But the phone was dead. The radio crackled, then cut out completely. And from somewhere below, I heard a sound. The school bell. Muffled. Ringing deep underground. So I went down. The air was damp. Heavy. Smelled like rust and decay. The stairs were narrow, steep. My flashlight beam cut through dust. At the bottom, rows of old desks and boxes. In one corner, 3 desks placed neatly in a row. On the first, and a notebook. I brushed off the dust and opened it. The ink had faded, but I could read the words. Detention. 9:13 p.m. Stayed alone. The page ended there. Behind me, footsteps. Slow. Even. I turned around. Evan stood on the stairs. Same gray jacket, same tie, but his skin. Gray, eyes hollow. He looked straight at me and asked, "Do you hear the bell?" At that moment, all the bells in the school rang at once. Loud, metallic, endless. Evan stepped closer, and behind him, shadows. Dozens of students. No faces, no sound. Each one wearing a name tag. They stared at me, waiting. Evan whispered, "You came for your shift. Now you'll stay till it ends." I ran toward the stairs, but the exit was gone. Only a solid wall of wood and concrete. The bells kept ringing. Voices whispered, 11, 12, 9:13. I don't remember how I got out. When I opened my eyes, I was in the security office. Morning light pouring in through the blinds. The principal and 2 police officers were there. They said I'd been missing for 2 days, found sleeping in the basement, even though that door had been sealed shut for years. On the desk lay a notebook. Old yellow pages. On the cover, in handwriting that looked exactly like mine. Night shift log. Dennis Walker. The last entry was written in fresh ink. Shift continues. 9:13. I looked at the clock. 9:12. And then somewhere above me, the bell rang.